Let's start today's episode.
All right, welcome back, besties. This is our last episode in our mini series, Sex in the Cycle. So if you've missed any of them, head back. They're all short episodes. You can catch up real quick and easy. Today, we're going to end with a bang, literally, ovulation. This is the phase that our hormones have skyrocketed. We are at the peak of our estrogen for our whole cycle. We're at the peak of our testosterone in our cycle. Testosterone directly correlates to how confident we are. Estrogen correlates to our verbal skills. So it is absolutely the time to ask for what you want. And don't forget the stripper study, which proved that women make more money when they're ovulating because people just want to give them things in this phase. So definitely go ask for what you want. Have fun, be adventurous, enjoy yourself. That confidence is there. Communication skills are there. Use them to your advantage.
Yes. And I love that our verbal skills are at peak during this phase because I think that's so important for everything in our life, right? But especially when we're talking about sex in the cycle, because you might notice that you're more open and so that you have more feelings and adventures and you're the one like, let's go, all of that stuff, which I think is really helpful when you're really feeling it, right? I feel like so many of my clients are like, I'm just not feeling it. I'm like, wait until you're in that ovulation phase. If you do want to have children, okay. If you don't, like, make sure that you protected and you, because you
Some
sperm
barrier
lasts for 5
method.
days. Just FYI, I met a couple this weekend who his brother's wife ovulated twice and dropped 2 eggs, right? They have twins who are literally 2 days apart. They're fraternal twins. Okay. Sperm lasts 5 days. So just throwing it out there, depending on communicate with your partner if that's what is happening and if you do or you don't. But I think it's like one of those things where communication is key and it's fun and it feels more flirty and adventurous. And I think it's like, it's a fun phase, and again, we might not all be feeling like that. We might all have different things going on, different things on our plates, different things in our mind, especially maybe if you have been trying for a while and you're like, oh, okay, I'm ovulating again. Like, let's go. That can get really hard and tedious and really emotional. So really be kind. And again, I keep saying this, but kind and gentle to yourself while you're going through that. And know that this phase can also be good, even if you are going through that, with communication and just having that conversation again.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is a small percentage of people who don't feel great in ovulation. You can get that pain of ovulation. Some people have that, and so they just don't feel great that day. Some people get hormonal migraines, and sometimes they happen in ovulation. So you just are in bed with a migraine. So there are definitely a certain percentage of people who don't feel great in this phase. Follicular is probably your better phase, and early luteal is probably your better phase, right? Because those hormones are a little bit lower and you feel better in those phases. So you think of those as kind of more like your ovulation phase. But most of us feel at our peak in ovulation.
Yeah. And I've had a few clients over the years that say that they just feel really low when they ovulate too. Just
Mhm.
throwing it out there. If you do feel like instead of this burst of energy, you feel like the opposite, that's also can happen. Again, don't judge yourself for not feeling like that when you're in ovulation. Like you said,
Yeah.
follicular and luteal might be better for you.
Yeah, and it's something that you should chart. If this is something that happens every month and that's very much your normal, but if it's something that's new, go to the doctor, have that conversation with a professional that something's going wrong and you need your hormones tested. You want to do a depression, anxiety, stress test, you want to just tick all the bases and make sure that you're covered. And even if it is something that's normal for you, it's worth going and getting your hormonal panel done just to double check that things are right there. It's just how you feel in that space. Neurodiversity is also peak with ovulation. The estrogen often can trigger higher symptoms for different neurodiversities. So especially my ADHD clients, sometimes ovulation is feeling really scattered, but they all have said that that is when their libido also peaks. So while they may feel more scattered and maybe that's not the time for them to like go record video, it is the time to go home and instead of recording video, going having some fun between the sheets instead. So just making sure that you're in tune with what your needs are in that phase. But it's often the time that people like to experiment. Ovulation is that phase where the orgasm is the easiest to reach. It's often the time where they like to experiment, do different things, try something new. And this is where you really just need to communicate, especially if you're going to try something new or something different, and just make sure that you're both on the same page. If you're with a partner, and just make sure you're on the same page, that you're like, okay, this is what I want to try. And what do you think of this? And yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do it. And if there's anything involved where you need safe words, you need to talk to a professional. One of my best friends was a professional dom for a long time, and I have gotten quite an earful over the years of people who thought they were doing the right thing on their own. I 100% recommend talking to somebody who is actually a professional if you're going to get into that, especially in this phase. Know what you're doing, because it turns out that accidents happen and they can get really bad and they can end you in the ER, where you have to explain that to a nurse. And they can land you dead too. So just throwing that out there. If you want to get adventurous in this phase, absolutely go for it. And actually, in The Revolution Will Be Bloody, I talk about that in the ovulation section. And I have resources in that book for that situation. So if you have The Revolution or you're thinking about it, grab a copy of The Revolution, because there's resources in the back for you. Also, though, don't get pressured into doing something you don't want to do. So cycling back to that, you might want to try things, but if it's out of your comfort zone, it's out of your comfort zone. You can always say no. You don't care if you've been married for 80 years. You can say no. I don't care if it's like the brand new person that you want to impress. You can say no. You always have that autonomy to say, nope, that's out of my comfort zone. I have no interest in it. No.
Yeah, 100% agree. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was fun as we celebrate love and relationships and sex in February. So thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't listened to any of the other episodes, you got to go back. Like, they're packed full of great information. Overall theme is do what feels good for you, communicate your needs, your wants, your desires, and really just let you and your partner know how you're feeling and how you're doing and what you would like. And just know that it's going to change. And every cycle probably will be different. And as you age, as you have different points in your life, I know having children has definitely changed a lot for me and my clients and for everybody that I know. So just be kind and gentle, and yeah, just have fun with it and explore what you need, what you like. Thank you so much for joining us for a Sex in the Cycle series. We are back to our regular scheduled programming next week. Don't forget our Flashback Fridays and everything else that we're launching this year. Bye for now.
A big shout out and thank you to our sponsors for today's episode, Period Coaching School and Katie Bressek Wellness.
Thanks to you, our favorite bestie, for listening to the Period Besties podcast, where no topic is TMI. And of course, share this episode with your besties.
Remember to leave us a 5-star review, nothing less than the best for us besties, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
You can follow us on Instagram at Stasha Washburn and at Katie Bressack, or email us at periodbestiespodcast@gmail.com.
Check out more about us at katiebressack.com and periodcoachingschool.com. And of course, check the show notes for free goodies and extras that support this episode.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye for now, besties.